Good afternoon, everybody. This afternoon session is dedicated to class 10. Particularly, the pre-board exams results are out. The examinees of class 10 might be little bit lingering and they might not be as active as they should have been for the preparation of the board exam. I can understand that they may be feeling little bit lazy and slow. In order to stimulate and in order to speed up their preparation, it is important to revise their lessons and make them understand certain facts about literature as well as grammar. So today I have taken a very small poem, that is A Tiger in the Zoo, poem number 3. And let us now talk about, ask, sir, what is the, it is written by Leslie Norris. Ask, sir, what is the central idea of this poem? Well, this poem highlights the problem of a caged tiger, the tiger in a, the mental condition of a tiger in a cage or in a zoo. The poet, compares the life and, condition of a caged tiger to that of a tiger in his natural habitat. He is trying to convey the fact that despite all its majestic beauty and strength, a tiger feels quite helpless in a zoo. At the same time, the poet also tries to convey and heightens the contrast between freedom and captivity. So, the message that is being conveyed in the poem is that we should always try to leave the wild animals and allow them to live in their natural habitat. Secondly, the poet is trying to convey the message that for lust for freedom, desire for freedom, freedom is the natural instinct. Love for freedom is the natural instinct of every living being. Call it human being or animals, doesn't matter. Every living being wants to live in freedom, and so we should never keep the animals and birds in cage because they too like and love freedom. Now, coming to the first stanza, he stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet, quite in his quiet race. Now, first of all, understand what is the meaning of stalks. Stalks means he walks or moves quietly and slowly in a threatening way because he is not feeling happy. Second thing, vivid means clear, and stripes are long, narrow bands, and pads very soft part of the you may call it the soft part under the foot of the tiger, and rage means anger. The poet sees a tiger caged in a zoo. Now the cage is so small that the tiger can hardly walk along the length of the cage. He can take a very few steps along the length. He can hardly take a few steps along the length of the cage because the cage is very small. He just looks majestic and walks slowly and ups and down the cage. In his the sharp and clear stripes on his body, you know, looks quite bright in color. His pads are velvet soft, and he looks quite majestic. Despite all the, fact, or despite all the strength that the tiger possesses, he feels quite helpless in the cage. Therefore, the tiger actually, though angry, is walking quite, slowly and doesn't make a lot of noise simply because the tiger knows that he is imprisoned and he is helpless. And that is the fact. So, in the first stanza, we at one hand the poet is trying to convey its majestic look, that when it walks along the length of the case, up and down the case, he looks quite majestic with the sharp, bright stripes on his body. but at the same time, the poet has contrasted his majestic beauty to that of his helplessness, that despite all the strength and beauty, the tiger feels quite helpless in the case. And that is what is being heightened. So, at one hand, the poet is trying to glamorize the beauty of the tiger, on the other hand, he heightens the contrast between his strength and majestic beauty to that of his helplessness, that despite all the majestic look and beauty and his strength, he is quite helpless in the case because he is imprisoned, he has no freedom. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. In the second stanza, looking at the imprisoned tiger, the poet is, filled with joy. He says that the poor tiger should have been in his natural habitat, the jungle. That is, he must be hunting the deer at that time and must be hiding under the shadow of the grass. But now, as he is imprisoned, he cannot do so. The long grass is the hiding place of the tiger. He would, then near the water hole, walk to a little distance to catch the healthy deer for its food. So he would be lying there in expectation of a heavy feast, and that is what is being highlighted in this second stanza. So the poet is looking at the imprisoned tiger with a little bit sympathy, and at one hand he is filled with pity for his helplessness. On the other hand, he is imagining that had the tiger been free in his natural habitat, he would be hiding in the long grass and waiting for his chance to attack on a healthy, deer for its, lavish feast. He might be expecting a lavish feast. Had he been free, he would have been hiding under the grass for a heavy feast. So, in the second stanza, also, the poet is making a contrasting feature of what should have been the condition of the tiger and what should have been his way of living when he would have been in the freedom of his natural habitat, and now he is little bit sympathizing with his helplessness being in the case. So that is what I wanted to emphasize upon, and I'm sure this will help you and stimulate the examinees to go for revision of the literature section. Thank you very much.